Hello? We were live, sorry.
Alrighty. How is everybody going? This is, of course, your boy Bernie here. Sorry to kind of make a very abrupt starting point of the video, but we're here live with Tyrese. How you doing, Tyrese?
How's it going, guys? I'm doing good.
All right. You know what we're here to talk about. Of course, we didn't really have time to talk this week. Busy. Whoops. All right. Video's live on my end. We are just here live talking a little bit about this Boston Celtics. Of course, this is two Boston Celtics fans, very passionate fans, talking some Boston Celtics basketball. We obviously can see the masterclass right now that Emi Udoka has created for us right now. Defensively, we are a juggernaut, and you can clearly see by the way we kind of stifle away Kevin Durant, walling him off, and other things like that. But before we do get started, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Remember, the more likes, the more subscribers, the more that this channel can grow and develop. And of course, guys, we're really looking to develop this channel. Like I said, we want this channel to be a place where you guys can come in, talk some NBA hoops, talk whatever sport you want to talk about, and then we just kind of keep it in the comment section. We keep it online, and just really get going for all that stuff. So, with that being said, Tyrese, like I said, we are going to talk some NBA, Boston Celtics playoff basketball. I mean, this, like I said, if you were to draw up kind of what happened the last two games, obviously being the two games that we played, um, this was a very tough. This was a very tough game. Like, this is something that you probably expect in the Eastern Conference Finals with the way of the playoff intensity from the Celtics fans. I'm sure we'll feel it the same way when we go to New York tomorrow. So with that being said, Tyrese, Celtics, Nets. What's your biggest takeaway from this series?
My biggest takeaway is I knew we would beat them. I knew we would stand up to them. I just didn't know we would be shooting ourselves in the foot. Going up and
Mm-hmm.
not guarding defensively. I think we really need Rob back. Tyson's been great for us, but we need that inside interior on defense and to contest shots, and he'll be a big boost for us starting tomorrow. So I think, yeah, I think we'll be good. But overall, I think we did very great. I think the Nets have been doing good. They're just not consistent on the net side. They just don't have enough
Mm-hmm.
playmakers, in my opinion,
Yeah.
to beat us. So it's going to be interesting. They're back at home, so we'll see what happens. But like I say, they're going to need other guys to step up besides those two. And Kyrie was cold. He only had 10 points in 41 minutes. So if he
Mm-hmm.
has another game like that tomorrow, they're pretty much good. They're done. It might even be done in 4. We might
Yeah.
even finish on Monday. So this is a must win game for them. They just need other people to step up.
Yeah.
And as for us, I think we also need people to step up on our defense, just because it seems like there's not enough offensive flow on our end.
Mm-hmm.
Derek White has been very inconsistent. Um, Peyton Pritchard's been hitting a couple threes, but we need more. We need someone who can get us 15 off the bench consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And we just don't have that right now. I understand it's the Nets, but we can't be having that same excuse when we're going against Milwaukee or Miami. Like, those
Yeah.
are even better defensive teams. So, you know, uh, I'm proceeding with caution. I mean, we done very well, but I gotta see a little bit more, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know. But what is your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the Brooklyn Nets, I think it was kind of clear and obvious at the beginning of the season, when Harden and all them were there, that you could tell that there is a defensive liability on this team. Like, you know, Nody Gang checking in. What's up, Sean? Or sorry, not Tyrese. Justin, Tar Heel Nation, what is up? I'll kind of come to
Oh,
your
what's up,
comment.
Justin?
I'll come up with your comments in a second. But to kind of go back to the topic at hand, I really, like we talked about before, I think the Nets have to be absolutely perfect on offense in order for this team to even be successful. Like, I really felt this way at the beginning of the year when Harden was on this team, and I still feel that way even with Ben Simmons potentially coming back for this team. Is they're going to need it offensively, and without their role players really going off, I think it's going to be tough for this Brooklyn Nets team to come back in this series. Like, you're talking about a team right now that's getting out rebounded. They're getting out defensively worked. Um,
Yeah,
and to me, like, when you look at the percentages right now, like, yeah, the Brooklyn Nets have probably the better percentages in some regards, field goals and 3-point attempts, but we make those tough shots, and really the percentages are really coming from Kevin Durant and Kyrie. Even though Kyrie didn't play
yeah.
his best game, and that goes to show you how perfect this team has to play Tyrese in order to be
Mhm.
like competitive in the series. Like, I think whether or not, like, however the series ends, like if the Nets win or we win, like, you can clearly see that, like, if they're not perfect, they're not winning it. And this is going to be a tough battle in series against us. I can only imagine what it'd be like, going against Milwaukee, or even going against a Miami Heat.
Well,
A lot of kind of people are poo pooing them, but you got to be offensively perfect against this Brooklyn Nets team, or sorry, against the Brooklyn Nets have to be perfectly, or I guess Kevin Durant and Kyrie have to be perfect on offense, or
perfect.
in
Yeah,
order for this.
I get you. I get what
Yeah.
you're saying. Yeah, I kind of would have somewhat agree with you on that. It's just when you're talking about the Milwaukee Bucks, they don't really have two scorers like that. I mean, Chris Middleton
Mm-hmm.
can get you 20, 23, but sometimes he disappears, right? He'll get you 13 points and foul out some days. So he's kind of a question mark, and he's out right now. So we got to see if the Bucks can even surpass the Bulls, because
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of shorthanded right now in scoring. They're
Yeah.
even though they're winning right now, but um, and as for Miami, that's a team I think we're gonna meet. That out of that winner gets to the finals. They're a team that just switches just like us. They got scoring. They got guys
Mm-hmm.
1 through 7 or 8 who can just get you buckets.
Yeah.
They switch. They're big. They can pick and they have what we have. And that's
Mm-hmm.
the only team I think really is a threat to us. Milwaukee, I just don't buy them, man. I just don't buy them. They had it going last year, but just how the Toronto Raptors had everything going at one time, I just don't think they're getting back. I think it's
Mm-hmm.
going to be between us and Miami. Those are the two best defensive teams in our conference. We've been this way since the start of the year. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? And being
Yep. Yep.
consistent. So, as of, there's no other teams really that have offensive firepower like the Nets. So,
Yeah.
and then two, it's kind of preparing us for a tougher series ahead, because it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
get no better than Katie and Kyrie. So I
Yeah.
think this is a good experience for us, and I think
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna pay its duties once we get further in.
Yeah. And then for the Celtics side, that you know, kind of what I've been noticing is that we've been doing a great job of walling off Kevin Durant from, you know, really making any type of moves. You can see that we're definitely double teaming at times, you know, especially off the pick and roll. We let kind of Kevin Durant kind of go where he needs to, and then we now bring someone later, and that's kind of, you know, causing Durant a little bit of distress and why he really hasn't played that well in these last two series or last two games. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's something that is really to be looked noted for. And I want to talk about that point a little bit later, Tyrese, after I'm
Okay.
done
Yeah.
with the
Sure.
Celtics point about, you know, is, you know, Durant really the best? Well, maybe not the best player in the world, but is Durant, you know, is something up with him? Because it seems like there's something.
Yeah.
Um,
He see. I've noticed that too. Sorry to cut you off, but I had to really speak on this. He looks like he's just out of sync, man. Like
yeah.
he's losing track of the ball as soon as it gets in his hands. I don't know if something's going on in his life, but he just
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look like himself. Like he's falling all over the place. He just looks clumsy, like out there. I don't know if he's dehydrated or something or what, but
Yeah.
he doesn't look like himself, man. And I noticed that. Like he's just falling all over the place.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that a little bit later in the stream because I think it is a good point to bring. We'll bring up the two superstars once I'm done with this Celtics point. And you know, in terms of the
Okay.
Celtics, like I think you know, I think Jalen Brown stepped up in yesterday's game. This is the
Yeah.
first time that I've seen you know Jalen Brown. Like I was critical of him in game one because he was missing layups. We won that game barely on a layup. That just kind of
Yeah,
goes
I
to
was
show
so
you
weak.
you know that you know Jalen Brown you know just wasn't his game, but he stepped up in this last game. You know Jason Tatum, obviously you know I think kind of blossoming in front of our
Uh-huh.
eyes. Like you know he's finally at the age where it's like okay he's got his grown man strength now. He's playing really well, really good basketball, and defensively is getting is up to the challenge compared to years past where it was like he was a turnstile. And so that's something that I really appreciate about Jalen or Jason Tatum is improving that defense because you know that's something that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on as well is that you know they notice all the offensive plays but they really don't notice the defense of Jason Tatum. And really I think another thing too Tyrese is Al Horford.
Mhm.
You know we got to give it up to him,
Yeah.
man. Like you know at the beginning when we traded back for him I was like you know okay you know he's a cap space guy, we can get rid of him and maybe you know do something with the cap space that we get for Al Horford and trade him away. But
Mhm.
you know, Udoka really likes him in the rotation. I think he always should have been a Celtic. I'm not sure why we let him go for that. I think I can't remember how long
It,
he
it,
went
it
for,
was the
like a
money.
year.
It was the money
Yeah,
part. He was just too much on our books. We
yeah,
couldn't afford him. And he was
yeah,
kind of up in age, so yeah.
yeah. But I just think he kind of fits. Like if there's one player that fits like a Celtic mold, he's that guy. Like he just fits the perfect like what we need from him in terms of just
Mhm.
the offensive
Leadership. Even yeah,
leadership.
even leadership, yeah.
Yeah. And then Grant Williams, you know, I've been critical of this kid before. You know,
I
he's
have
had,
to, yeah.
but you got to give it up to him, man. Like he really hit some
Yeah.
big threes in game two that helped us, you know, get that momentum back after we got sucker punched in the mouth by Gordon Dragic only going left at the beginning of the game. And so, you know, his threes definitely helped tremendously. I mean, he's shooting 87% from the free throw line. 3 point percentage wise, I believe he is shooting 42%, which is what we need out of a great
Mhm.
shooter in Grant Williams. And, you know, give a shout out to Daniel Theis as well, another Celtic that probably shouldn't have left. Again, he's not going to be a guy that I would say is necessarily getting like accolades, but his defensive length is what helps us against guys like Kevin Durant. And then
He can
Peyton,
switch. He can
yes,
switch,
he
man.
can
He can
switch.
pick and pop. He can shoot jumpers. That's what we need in a rotation. Like that's what
Mm-hmm.
you need to win it all, and
Mm-hmm.
we have that with him. So.
Yeah, and then Peyton Pritchard played really well in the last game. The first game, not
Mhm.
so much, but I think the last game is where we stepped up. And I think I do agree with you, Tyrese, on Derek White. He's been very quiet in the series so far,
Yeah.
and that's kind of going to be that's going to be something to look at as well, just to see like if he can't get it going, like is he going to still continue to get the minutes that he does? Because he gets about 20 minutes a game. And so you know that's obviously some big 6 man minutes that we need some
It
special.
was- yeah, I understand that too, but I think too it's a lack of playoff experience. He just doesn't have enough, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he got drafted by the Spurs in what 2017, 2018. They
Mm-hmm.
were kind of out of playoff contention right there, and so he's just been playing on a bad Spurs team. He
Yeah.
he doesn't really know what it takes to be playing in a playoff environment, especially against a
Mm-hmm.
team like the Nets. So, I would like to see Peyton Pritchard get more minutes over him though. I think he can help us a little bit more. He seems more
Mm-hmm.
confident and he's not afraid of the moment. I think we should give him more minutes. Um, he can really give us a boost offensively.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I think we should give him more minutes. And I mean, Derek White's very good, but he can't shoot, man. We need going against the Nets. You have to have shooters, man. We have no really perimeter shooters like that. I mean, we have Brown and Tatum, but that's not enough.
Yeah.
These guys can get you 40 apiece. That's 80 right there. And then if Dragic can get 20, that's 100. You get what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So we got to have other guys step up. And
Yeah.
we got lucky. You know what I'm saying? We did get lucky because they were Kevin Durant. I think it was game 1 or game 2. He went 4 for 17 and still had 27 points.
Yeah.
Who has what player is like that where they can go 4 for 17 and have 27 points? You get what I'm saying? So imagine
Mm-hmm.
if he went 10 for 17. He would have had probably 40 points
Yeah.
and we would have lost. But that just goes to show you they have a lot of offensive firepower. But, we have defensive firepower as well. And we have,
Yeah.
So I think we'll be fine. We just have to be consistent. Jaylen Brown's been the most consistent player for us right now. Honestly, on both ends.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum, he last game he had all right, but 16 points, that's not gonna cut it. You need at least over 20.
Yeah. And then just
So
and then let's move over to kind of the Brooklyn side. I kind of mentioned it at the beginning, like this is red alert for the Brooklyn Nets right now because, like I talked about at the beginning of the episode or beginning of this video, they really have to be perfect because Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, like we're looking at the minutes that they play compared to the points that they're getting. Like obviously Kyrie Irving had a terrible night last night. I'm not sure if
yeah,
the Ramadan festivities.
that's no excuse, man. Jaylen Brown's doing Ramadan too, man. Like, let's come on, stop it. Like
um,
Jaylen Brown's doing Ramadan too, and he's still averaging over 20.
Yeah, I mean
You
Kyrie is
know,
too in the two series. I mean, obviously game one will skew those numbers, but you know,
but
I
game
think
2 though, 41 minutes and 10 points. Like Peyton Pritchard had more points than him, I think. Even though he's not doing Ramadan, but still, like,
yeah,
it's some players are,
yeah,
that,
and I think that the player that we really should be looking at is Kevin Durant because this playoff series has been abysmal for him. Like right now, he's shooting 31% from the field, 28.6 or
that's true.
28.6 from 3-point land. Like this is
Mm.
something that should be concerning a lot of Nets fans at the current moment is that your star player at the current moment, like the guy that's your number one, is struggling offensively. And like you talked about, he's turning over the ball more
But
than
too, you got to
anybody.
remember, Bernie, we're banging him up. We're throwing our bodies at him. We're clink, we're clinking against his tiny ass legs. His bones are hurting right now. We're throwing our bodies at him. We're physical with him. He hasn't had anything like this. He was used to being in Golden State where, there was so much talent there. He wasn't used to banging bodies.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? It's different now. He doesn't have that anymore. And I think as well, we switch a lot. And I understand, yeah, they're big focal points, but where the hell is Seth Curry? Where are these? Where's Andre Drummond? I mean, these guys can play. It's not like they're scrubs. Where are they? These guys were number one. He was a number 1 pick or number 2 pick, and then Seth Curry can, get you 15, good 3-point shooter. Where the hell they been?
They're just not showing
So
up. I mean, we're literally walling off Durant, we're walling off Kyrie, and we're letting guys like Bruce Brown
because
get the
these other guys
points.
aren't showing up.
Nick's Claxton, another guy that is
So
supposed to be like this defensive anchor. I mean, again, I think what the problem with the Brooklyn Nets at the current moment is that I don't think Kevin Durant is, it's obviously a credit to what we've been doing defensively. And Sean, you talked how much you want to bet if the Nets go down 0-3, Simmons gets a setback in his return. I mean, you never know with that stuff. But what I really think is happening is that because Kevin Durant isn't where he normally is, right? I think there's something wrong with him in terms of I don't know if he's got an injury or what's going on because I'm not seeing the same explosive Kevin Durant that I saw earlier,
listen,
the last 2 months. Like the last 2 months, like he was on a tear. This team was, getting momentum now that, the vaccine mandate was over in New York. Like you now got Kyrie Irving back in there and there was some gelling and some unity. And I don't know. I don't know if he's got like a secret injury or what's going on, but this is not the Kevin
I don't.
Durant. This is not the Kevin Durant even from last year or the year before that. Like, he doesn't seem to have the same explosiveness that he once did, and he just looks slow now. He doesn't look like he's able to like get past you with his moves anymore. And I think that's kind of what's causing him to shoot poorly and to dribble poorly, is because he's not able to get to where he needs to go. And people are, we're a very long team defensively, and so we're contesting his shots. The thing that made him kind of very lethal was the fact that he shoots so high that you can't block his shot. But the
Right.
problem is that he's not getting that separation in space enough to like
Yep.
get a cleaner look than what he normally gets. And so I think that's kind of the big reason as to why, in my opinion, Tyrese, why the Brooklyn Nets have been playing, why their role players haven't been playing very well, is because they just can't get Durant going at the current moment.
Yeah, you're right. He sets the tone, right? And you got to remember, like I said, we're throwing everything we have at him. We're throwing our bodies at him, man. Like we're bumping him. We're doing everything just to get him uncomfortable. He's not used to that. And if he's trying to get to the paint,
Mm-hmm.
Smart's in there. He can draw a defense or offensive foul on him, or a defensive foul. You get what I'm saying? So he's not. It's hard. It's difficult for him because he has to try to change up his game, his strategy. He can't go inside the paint because Derek White or something like that will draw a charge. You get what I'm saying? Or
Mm-hmm.
Smart, and you got Tatum 6'9" who's guarding him, and then you got other guys like Brown who are playing with his dog food. So it's kind of like he hasn't seen anything like this probably in his career. I haven't seen any team play him how we're playing. I'm being honest, and we didn't even have Rob yet. So imagine when he comes back Saturday.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I seen one guy. I think it was Zach Lowe. He said we're the best defense we ever seen play on Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
So uh, I think sky's the limit for us if we can stay healthy. But I just think there's nothing wrong with KD physically. I don't think. I think we're just roughing his ass up. That's it. We're playing bully ball against him, and he's not used to anything like that.
I think another thing too, what we're doing pretty well is that as soon as his back is turned, we have somebody kind of coming in and just back tapping him or just
Yep.
trying to steal the ball,
And
and that's and
he's
he's
not
not
seeing
seeing
that
you.
either.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not seeing you either. I seen like Jalen. I think he stole like 2 baskets from him doing that. Like
Yeah.
his awareness isn't really there. Like he'll try to spin and kick it out, and he doesn't see the
Yeah.
other guy coming. So you're
Yeah.
gonna get the ball stole every time like that. So I think it's just so much. He's
Mm-hmm.
not used to anything like that, man. He was out for 2 years. We haven't. He hasn't really played against us like that in the East. We've never really been in battle. So this is
Mm-hmm.
something new.
Yeah, for sure. And this is something, like I said, like I do think that there is something wrong, because this is even slow for Kevin Durant. Like Kevin Durant's not the quickest player in the world. And I think honestly, Tyrese, what the vibe I'm getting, and I think he'll probably disagree with me. Kevin Durant will,
What
is
is
that
it?
I think he regrets leaving Golden State. Because the
I
way
was thinking the same thing.
because I mean, you see the way that they're playing right now. I mean, they're playing absolutely. I I don't really like Draymond Green personality wise, but he's a great player, and you
Yeah.
can't discredit him or anybody on that Warriors
Yeah.
team. Like the way that they play, the way that they move, and it just kind of goes to show you like how well this team operates and how they move. And for Kevin Durant, it's back to I would say the Oklahoma City days where it was him and Russ. Now it's him and Kyrie, where they're just playing together. It's like your turn, my turn type of basketball, and I just don't think that Kevin Durant. Like I think he would miss the old way, with the Golden State Warriors, because look how easy his points were. He wasn't asked to do a lot of
Yeah.
stuff for them.
Look at Jordan Poole. He's
Yeah,
looking like it's easy for him, man. Like that's what I was saying. And I agree with you. I think certain points of this game, he was sitting down like on the bench with he didn't even look at him. Like it looked like a face like I'm out of this P. You get what I'm saying? Like
hmm
I can't have a team like this. They're a small market team. The coach Steve Nash isn't good. Like he had it good in Golden State. And
yeah,
you know what I'm saying? He got mad at Lake Up because of what he did and but that's the game. But
hmm
I think he regrets it, man. I think he's starting to regret it. He had it very good over there.
yeah,
He had it very good. And I think he's gonna leave
yeah,
because they're not really upgrading anything.
yeah. I
They
mean,
upgraded for James, but there's too many issues there. It's too much stuff going on in the
yeah.
locker room. It's too much going on with Kyrie. It's just too much. And I think he wants somewhere where he's not the main guy being dragged down for having a bad game or the team not winning. He's not used to that.
hmm
And I
Yeah,
think it's playing with his brain and psychologically.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of. I would say if I'm Durant, I'm frustrated because you thought you were getting who is on your basketball clutch more. We'll talk about that a little bit later, Sean. I'll have that noted for something to talk about. I'm assuming you mean like the most clutch player of all time. We'll talk about that. I think for me, like when it comes to this Brooklyn Nets team, I think that even adding like Ben Simmons, and we'll talk about that right now. Tyrese says, like even if they add Ben Simmons, I think the problem for me, like by adding him, is not only the chemistry thing, but it's also the fact that like what is he going to do for you offensively? We know that Ben Simmons defensively can do things for you, but he hasn't played basketball in what is it since the last playoff series against the Atlanta Hawks.
Yeah.
Like
Hmm.
he hasn't played basketball. Like yes, he can progress to 5-on-5. You can do all these type of things that you want, and they could talk about it as a team. But to me, like what I'm noticing from like guys like Ben Simmons is that like if you haven't played in a year and you're just gonna insert a guy because he obviously a talented player in terms defensively,
Yeah.
like he's talented, but
Defensively.
you know is he gonna be able to keep up with Tatum and Brown to the point where he'll make a difference? I just don't think so, and I think Sean's right. I do think he's gonna have a setback, quote unquote, because I don't know if his basketball lungs are there yet. Like, you can progress, he's just now progressing to 5-on-5. And so that tells me that like he's obviously, been working out and all the things like that, but I'm just not sure if his endurance is there in time. So like how many minutes is he really going to play? And then you got guys like Stephen A. Smith saying that, oh, they'll go to the finals if he averages 15, 10 to 15. And when it's
Man,
like,
look.
when
Yeah.
it's like, no, like that's
He
not,
he
that's not
he's
going to
just
happen.
saying things. Yeah, he's just saying things like that because he needs to cover. He doesn't know enough about us. Let's just be real. Some of these analysts haven't watched really us. They haven't really watched us like that. Even when we were on a tear, they didn't take us serious. So all
Hmm.
they know is KD, Kyrie. You get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
throughout their career to cover. So when they actually have to sit down and study a team, it's like they don't want to do that. They're old. So, but yeah, there's no way they're going to the final. Even with him back, he's a good defensive player, but
Yeah.
he'll help them. Like he'll keep it
Hmm.
closer, and but like you say, he hasn't played in 2 years, man, or what, a year and a half. So I
Close to it.
mean, yeah, close to it. So there's no way he's just gonna flip a switch. Yeah, I hear him saying, my IQ level and all this, but we'll see. We'll see. But he's keep pushing it back. He keeps saying, yeah, it's my leg, and he's trying to have some excuse. He's trying to wait. He's hoping it could probably get tied up, and then he'll come once he sees they're building momentum. But he
Yeah.
doesn't want to come and they lose game 3. You get what I'm saying? And then they say,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're the issue, Ben. You had 5 turnovers, blah blah blah." He's gonna cry. You get what I'm saying? Like he's not gonna want to
He's
come back
gonna
next year.
cry.
I'm telling you, like he's very sensitive. You can tell. I can tell. So he just
Hmm.
doesn't want to be blamed for anything. Um, but he's gonna have to come out sometime. But like I say, man, he's just trying to sue the NBA, win that case, and retire. I think he's not motivated to play, in my opinion. He's trying to sue for that 20 mil and go. He's not even gonna make 20 mil this year. Would even playing in the playoffs. He's probably gonna
Yeah.
make about 5 to 7. He lost probably 13 million. So
Yeah.
it looks like he's just trying to regain what he lost and call it quits. In my opinion, that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens in this next couple of games. I mean, again, he's expected to come back in game number 4, if I'm not mistaken. And luckily, we'll be getting back Robert Williams, hopefully in next tomorrow's game or hopefully
Tomorrow,
on
yeah, he'll
Sunday. I
play
mean,
tomorrow. I think for about 20 to 22 minutes.
yeah, I mean, if not,
I,
I'm okay with him coming back game 5. Like, I just don't want to rush uh his injury or like his progression in this because I know like he's a key contributor to our team. Like, we need him for the next
going
couple of
forward.
rounds, and so like I don't
Oh
want to
yeah.
jeopardize like any knee injury or any type of structural damage if it means that we can just kind of hold him
But
up.
they said he played 4-on-4 and he's ready to go. I doubt that athletic trainers would just throw him out there. You get what I'm saying? Like they did
Um,
a diagnosis on him or
hmm.
analysis and make the judgment. Okay, he can play for 20 minutes just to be cautious. Like I doubt they have, top of the line medical staff. So I
Hmm.
doubt they're just gonna throw him out there and something's gonna happen. Like yeah, it could, but
Yeah.
they looked at the structural damage or whatever was hurt, and they probably okayed
Hmm.
it for at least 20 minutes just to be conservative. But I'm with you though. Like I'm kind of scared. Like I just don't want him to go out there. Then something happens again, and then he's done, and then it's like,
Hmm.
damn. It kind of takes all the, it takes a lot of the confidence out of the whole team. I think if he gets hurt again. So hopefully not though.
Yeah, for sure. And again, kind of looking at game number three. I mean, what's your prediction? Do you think that this is a game that we win, or do you think this is a game that the Nets win and then we maybe win game number four? Like, what's your prediction for game three?
I honestly think I don't know, man. It just feels like it feels like a toss up because I don't know how Rob's gonna come, but if I had to bet money on it, I think we're gonna win. I think we'll win by 5. I think Katie's gonna bounce back, but then again, those other guys are gonna step up, so it's not gonna be enough. Unless Seth Curry goes off for like 20 plus points, and then
Mm-hmm.
Dragic goes off for 20, like I said, but that's less likely. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. I think we're gonna beat them in a close fashion. I think Tatum will bounce back. We'll win, and then they'll pretty much bow down to us in game 4. Then we'll
Yeah.
move on.
I think we win game three for sure. I think that one's going to be an 8-point win for us. Like, I just don't necessarily
Okay.
see, for me, I don't see the Nets having that much offensive firepower. Like I said, those two guys have to be perfect. And I will keep repeating this point because you can clearly see, like, when those two guys aren't on sync, like there's
See,
no backup plan for me. Like
yeah.
there's no way that no way that like a guy like Bruce Brown, no disrespect to Bruce Brown, but they leave him open for a reason, is because they would rather have him try to drive and do some crazy antics in terms of going to the rim or shooting a 3-point shot, because they know the percentages. Like, yeah, right now he's shooting 80% from 3-point land, but he's not taking many. He's only I think he's only attempted like
See,
maybe a couple, and I think that we can live
yeah.
with Bruce Brown, playing those high minutes and shooting those percentages that he has.
We could live with that. I could live with that. But I was gonna say if they start Dragic, I think they might start Dragic game 3 because he was giving them a spark off the bench. I think they're gonna need, and he's pretty good defensively too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're probably gonna try to experiment with him and start him early,
Mm-hmm.
to try to get some offense going and defensively. But like I say, they can see the thing with the Nets is they can switch. Like they were switching, but they can't switch for a long period of time. They don't have 1 through 8. They have about 4 guys that could
Mm-hmm.
do it for a limited time. But after that, they break down, and
Yeah.
that's when Tatum was getting unleashed. He was just going all over. So, they're just too big.
Yeah.
Drummond's too big. He can't move his legs. He can't push the ball up the court. He has to come out and guard Horford. It's just a lot to it. And then like when Rob comes back, they're gonna try to double team to him. He's just gonna lob it up. You can drop back and sag off, and we're just
Mm-hmm.
gonna lob it up. It's gonna be easy money.
Yeah.
So
Eh,
he's gonna be a game changer for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and I think they'll win game number four, because I think whether or not Ben Simmons comes back, I just think they just can't go. They just can't get swept. I think
Nah, man. I
to
think they're gonna be done. I think they're gonna get swept. I think they're gonna
you're
get swept.
going
If they don't win
sweep.
tomorrow, yeah. If they don't win tomorrow against us, they're gonna get swept, and then Kyrie's gonna be going crazy, saying, "Oh, all those fans and everything," and then he's gonna blame it on the reporters. Have you ever played an NBA game doing fasting? I think it's just too much going on, man, inside the locker room. Steve
Yeah,
Nash can't outcoach Ime. Like he has no more experience, but they just don't buy in with him. They don't listen to him. It's a 2-man show. Let's
yeah,
just say that it's a 2-man show. You
yeah,
can't win on a 2-man show. So I think we're
yeah,
gonna wrap it up tomorrow,
yeah,
and then Monday it'll be over.
yeah. I think I would still have them win the game forward, and then I think we win game five, and then the Nets will have to do some serious reflection about like what their team looks like going forward, and we'll talk about that when the time comes. Hopefully, it
Mm-hmm.
comes sooner rather than later in terms of us sweeping them, or at least winning it relatively quickly in at least 5 games. And I think the one thing that is for certain is that since the start of the new year, you could clearly see that the Boston Celtics have turned on a switch. They have really elevated their game. You can clearly see that they are one of the best defensive teams in the NBA right now, and I am
Mm-hmm.
really excited for the series moving forward. Whether we play, whether we play with the Milwaukee Bucks or we play, we'll probably play the Milwaukee Bucks, I think. I'm curious to see like Emma Udoka's strategy against Giannis, and I think that's going to be a fun kind of matchup, chess
Well, we're gonna
matchup.
have Rob. See, that's the difference. Like when we see, people forget Tatum handed it to him in his rookie year, and
Mm-hmm.
we weren't as good as that switching as we were now back then 3 years ago with experience and guys bought in. You get what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So it's gonna be different for the Bucks too. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Because Giannis, he's gonna have to meet Rob at the rack, and
Yeah.
he's a good defense. And Horford, they're gonna both be in that. So it's gonna be difficult. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, they can hit shots, but I can live with that. Make other guys beat us, but I think the only team that could really give us trouble is Miami. I'm being honest.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna beat the Bucks in like 7, but
And I
Miami, I don't know.
yeah, and I would love that rematch starting with the bubble rematch from a
Yeah,
couple years back, just to kind of
just because they're just like us, like they can switch, like with Bam, like he can hit shots, like he could come out and hit a pick, and like they're just good, man. They're very experienced. Their coaching staff from top to bottom, like they
yeah,
got championship. They're the team. They're the team
yeah.
right now. I think that's favorite.
Yeah. And, let us know in the comment section down below, everybody. What do you make of this Boston Celtics net series? Are you guys a big believer in the Boston Celtics? Do you think that there's something wrong with the Brooklyn Nets? Let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think of the Boston Celtics and Brooklyn Nets? We would love to know what you guys think in the comment section down below. And again, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel, because the more likes, the more subscribers, the more people are willing to tune in and watch the charge. So again, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe. All right, Tyrese, let's quickly talk about. I want to talk a little bit more about the Utah Jazz. Really quick,
Okay.
as kind of the final topic, because I know you have to go really soon.
Oh no, we're
Um,
good. We're good. I got at least 40 minutes.
okay, sweet, sweet, sweet. So let's talk Utah Jazz really quick, Tyrese. I think this series to me has been the most disappointing. Not in the fact that I think um, not that I think that it's necessarily, I would say, surprising, but what is so weird about the Utah Jazz is the fact that right now, like when we look at the series, and let me find their series here in landofbasketball.com. There we go. Utah Jazz. Let's see series stats, and just kind of look at the stats comparatively. The Dallas Mavericks really shouldn't be in this series right now. Like the Dallas Mavericks should be a team that is competitive, but at the end of the day, the amount of firepower and star power that the Utah Jazz have, they should be able to overcome whatever the Mavericks have without Luka Doncic. And that to me is the surprising thing about this whole series is really the Utah Jazz should be winning this series. Like right now they should be up 3-0. Like I just think that the last two games to me have been particularly, especially game 3, I think has been really
Mm-hmm.
disappointing in a sense that I think defensively
Mm-hmm.
they have been a mess. And when I really
Yeah.
look at it, everyone wants to blame Rudy Gobert this, Rudy Gobert that, but we really have to look at their perimeter D players because right now their perimeter D players, like they are playing absolutely horrible, and that is
Yeah.
causing Rudy Gobert to overcommit, overhelp, and then that's what's leaving the corner threes open. Like yesterday, you could clearly see that there's a lot of middle drive penetration, any type of penetration. Brunson, I want to give a shout out to him. He's been playing absolutely amazing. He's a baller, um, and maybe he might be getting a bag soon. Um,
Oh, Brunson's for sure getting the bag, man. Look what he's doing. He's looking like
yeah,
Luca, a mini Luca out there.
yeah, and his ability to
Man.
keep the dribble alive in that game is tremendous. And to me, we talked about this as a topic a long time ago, Tyrese, before the playoffs started. I think that this is going to head in an ugly divorce for the Utah Jazz. I
Oh
think
yeah, it has it written all over it. Go ahead. Sorry.
the only thing I'm going to say is like, who do you think is going to be going? Do you think it's going to be Mitchell or do you think it's going to be Gobert?
I think Rudy's the easiest asset to get rid of, just because he's not a franchise type of player to really, sell tickets to fans. Donovan
Mm-hmm.
is more of that
Mm-hmm.
figure, but who knows? You get what I'm saying? Hey,
Yeah.
who knows? But I just think it has disaster written all over it, man. I don't know if you've seen that video of them getting into it in the huddle on the bench with
Yeah.
Daniel House. And it's a mess, man. Like, I don't know if you remember him also saying, like, it's the same shit from last year, Donovan Mitchell said. I think I forgot who they played. I think they played the Clippers. They played
Yeah.
the Clippers, and it was a regular season game, and he was all mad. You get what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
yeah, it's going to get blown up. And then you got Quinn Snyder, 1 foot out the door, maybe to LA. So, I mean, these guys aren't trying to win. They're trying to get to the next destination. They're clearly not bought in. and
Yeah.
it's crazy how they're just getting manhandled, man. Like, no disrespect, but they're backups, man. Like, or but they can play, but a lot of these players aren't starting players like Kleber. Even Jalen Brunson, like he was a backup player. Like he's not really he looks like a starter, but coming into the series, he wasn't like a guy. Okay, he can average me 35 in this
Yeah.
series. Like no, you get what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
Finney Smith, like these are guys. Like who are they? You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying? Like, but hey, they're bought in, they're playing together, and that's what
Yeah.
matters in the playoffs.
Yeah. I criticized the Jason Kidd hire at the beginning of it just because of all the stories that I've heard of him in Milwaukee. Um, and I still
Nah,
think that
man, Jason Kidd. Listen. Sorry to cut you off. Jason Kidd can't coach, man. I'm being honest. These guys, they can play, but the Jazz are just getting. They're not bought in. They want to lose this series to blow it up early. Rudy Gobert is getting manhandled. Like he can't even get a rebound. He's not even trying to get a rebound. He's playing volleyball with it. I'm looking at him. He's not. Come on. Dallas, when they get to the next round, they might get swept. He can't coach. I'm being honest.
yeah. I mean, I'm not
I'm
saying that
being
he's
honest. When he was with
yeah, yeah.
Milwaukee, he didn't get the job done. Like he can't, bro. Like these players are good. They're bought in, but the Jazz just want to lose this series. It's one of those rare series where the team just wants to lose. But once they advance, and let's just say they would have to play. Let's see who they would play. They would play who? Golden State, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna get swept. They're gonna get swept. He can't coach, man. It's all smoke and mirrors. But they're playing. They're playing well. They're playing well. You get what I'm saying? So people are
Yeah.
like, "Hey, is Jason Kidd?" But like, no, bro. You're gonna see when they play a real team. Even the Grizzlies, if they play the Grizzlies, they're getting swept.
Yeah. I think when it comes down to it, I think like you said, I think this team is really playing well together. They've bought in, and this Luka ball stuff. It just kind of goes to show you like this is the team that he
They're
wants. Like
having fun.
yeah, he doesn't. They don't. He doesn't necessarily want a team that's filled with like another superstar or anything like that. He just wants guys that can hoop, know the game, are very high IQ players, and that's what he has here in Dallas. Whereas I think the Jazz, for me, like what's disappointing is that I do like their team. Like I do like the pieces that they have, and I think
They just don't fit.
to me, I just think Mitchell. I don't want to pin it all on him. Uh,
Yeah.
but my frustration with him too is that at the end of the day, I think he still holds a grudge against Rudy Gobert. I just
The
think
COVID
the
situation.
COVID situation, like I just think that
Mm,
they just haven't seemed to get along enough to where I think that it's like a healthy like we can hang or maybe not hang out, but at least be cordial on the court. I just feel like there's so much
yeah.
tension and animosity towards from Donovan Mitchell to Rudy Gobert and Rudy Gobert to him as well. And again, I don't want to be a defender of Rudy Gobert, but at the end of the day, their perimeter defense is what's killing them and what's
Hmm.
giving guys like Finley Smith and Reggie Bullock and all these other
It's because he
players.
has to come out. He's not used to coming out. He's just like Drummond. Like these guys are good rebounders. They can block some shots. But when you got a guy who can stretch, you're screwed against teams like that because those big guys, they have to come out now because those guys can shoot. You get what I'm saying? So
Yeah,
that opens up the paint and they're getting
yeah,
outplayed. Brunson's getting there with ease, hitting
yeah.
floaters. Like it's crazy.
Yeah, and that's my frustration too. Is that these defenders for Utah have to play a lot better, man. Like I'm really disappointed right now in a guy like Donovan Mitchell defensively. I think he's getting blown by a lot. He's obviously shooting way too much at the current moment. 11 for 26,
Hero ball.
not the greatest field goal percentage. 3-point percentage even worse at 25%. I mean, he's having a Durant like playoff series right now where yes, he's
And they
getting
only lost 12 games at sorry to cut you off. They only lost 12 games at home, man. And like they lose to a team like undermanned. But go
yeah.
ahead.
Yeah, and I mean, like one giving up 126 to this Dallas Mavericks team is inexcusable in my opinion. Because like we talked about, Jalen Brunson's a great player, but the other guys shouldn't be going off. Like you shouldn't have like Dorius Finney-Smith doing anything. Reggie Bullock shouldn't be like Max Kaliber should not be averaging
Like
almost
who are
17.
they?
Not should not
Like,
be averaging 17 points a game, and that is the frustration that I'm
man.
having right now with the Utah Jazz. And why I think that, and Sean, we will talk about Brandon Clark in a second. I know you want to talk about him all the time. We'll talk
Brandon
about it in a
Clark, the San
second.
Jose native, I'm dead.
um,
Brandon Clark.
but here's the final thing. A couple more things about the Jazz, and then we'll go into the Memphis Grizzlies because Sean wants to
Mhm.
talk about them so bad. So we'll talk about them. My like I said, I think that this is just has a recipe for disaster. I think they're gonna have to restart, redo something. Um, I really think that guys like Mike Conley are going to be gone. I really think that Rudy Gobert or Donovan, I can see Donovan Mitchell going. Tyrese, I just don't think he hit
Ooh,
like when
where
I
could you
look.
see him go though? To us
I don't think to us.
with Jalen? I
I
don't
think
know,
I think
man.
as I think another city in the East with a bird
I don't
mascot
know, man.
with the bird
I
mascot.
think
You might be going to Atlanta,
Miami
man.
or Burt, Atlanta.
I could
I
see him
don't know
go to
how him and Donovan would. I don't know how him and Trey would collide though, because Trey's the guy in the A. Donovan, he would try to be bully because they don't have no relationship. Jalen Brown and him have a relationship. It's just they play the same type of position, even though they really don't. But it's kind of like interchangeable. But it could work. You get what I'm saying? But would have to give up a lot of assets. But
yeah.
besides that, like a team maybe like damn, I don't even know who would trade for him. Maybe
Because
Orlando. Like I don't know. It would be a sorry team though.
here's the thing that I think it could be Donovan Mitchell is because he hasn't really posted about Utah and the Salt Lake City culture as much as he used to at the beginning of his career. Like the first like 3 years that he was in the league, always talked
It's
about
because everyone was hyping him up.
where's this what game should I be going to? Should I be going to BYU or should I be going to University of Utah? Should I be going to this high school game? Should that high school game? Now it's like you don't even hear about him. I don't know if he leaves the area. I don't know where he lives in Salt Lake. I'm assuming he doesn't live. Maybe he lives in like Draper or like one of the outer cities that are a little bit more bigger, have more space. And I just kind of see this to me, Tyrese, as I think Donovan Mitchell's time in Utah is done, and I think they're gonna need Dwayne Wade to step in and help him out because
Wow,
I
really?
I
You think so?
I think so, man, because I think that he's frustrated with the way it's been going so far in this playoff series. I think
Who
he
could
had
they get
he
return?
that I think we'll talk about in another video because I think that
Okay.
that's something to kind of think about. But the reason why I think it could be is because I think he's frustrated with the front office in terms of still
Mm-hmm.
having Rudy Gobert. I'm sure he's already voiced his opinion about trading him. You also have him. I think he needs to hold him. I think he needs to be held accountable as well for himself about the way that he's been playing, and I just don't think that he has, and I don't think that anyone has really checked him on like, yo, you're shooting like really bad percentages right now and taking a lot of
Right.
shots on this team. I mean, you're taking about 27 shots a game averaging. Like that that should not happen. Like I know he's a great
It,
player. I know he's the number 1 on the team, but 27 shots is I just feel like that's way too many shots for a player in today's NBA. Like I
it's
think
because he doesn't have no success in the playoffs either, man. Like he has no experience. I mean, he has some experience, but in the bubble, to me, doesn't really count. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like outside of that, he hasn't really had no success. Like you get what I'm saying? He automatically thinks it's his team. They have D Wade as minority owner. He's like, okay, yeah, that's you get what I'm saying? Like
yeah.
he spoke highly about me, and the owners they're not gonna get another guy like me, a franchise player. Like they haven't got anyone like me probably since the mailman Post Mode. So I mean, hey, I don't think they're going to get rid of him personally because who could you exchange for him? There's not really a lot of people out there for his age. At what 25 years old, and then averaging what he's averaging, he's good for another 10 years. So it's
I
kind of like,
I think he's going to demand it. I see it. He just seems
you
like a
think
guy.
so?
He seems like a guy that's I think it's boiling. I think it's boiling right now in terms of like he's keeping it inward, and then as soon as this team loses, or let's say like
Because
again,
he,
let's say they have another game like they did in Game 3. I don't think he's gonna
mm-hmm.
come back, man. Like I would be frustrated as a player. You'd
Oh
be pissed
no,
off. Like and I think if that happens again, say goodbye. I think it's just say goodbye. The Utah Jazz have to restart again. And I think the Jazz need to find a different way of approaching how to build this team because they've been doing it for the last, obviously since the mailman and John Stockton, especially with
mm-hmm.
that 2000, I would say 7 to 8 Utah Jazz team with like Carlos Boozer, Mehmet Okur, Matt Harpring, like that
Yeah,
team, This team right here
Man,
reminds me of that team, and I just think like when I look at it, and when I really analyze this team carefully, I think it's like a team that's very good, but they're still like
mhm.
there's something missing, and I just think that's the problem right now that I'm noticing with the Utah Jazz.
It's because I think Rudy thinks he's the guy for some reason. I just have a feeling he thinks he's the guy. Like defensive player of the year. Donovan hasn't won no award. He feels like he's the guy. Like because he's a big
Mm-hmm.
man. I feel like he has that big man syndrome. And I
Mm-hmm.
think Donovan has that little man syndrome where it's like, no, it's my team. It's my team. I'm averaging more points. And I think it's kind of like some butting head. And then who knows what
Yeah.
was said to each other when he caught COVID. You know, it could have been
Yeah.
some nasty things being said to him and that
Yeah.
kind of broke the bridge. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think Rudy's out of there, man. I think they're gonna ship him somewhere like Toronto and try to get a load haul for something for him or something like that. I just don't see Donovan Mitchell going somewhere. They're not gonna get another franchise guy his age getting something like. Come on, bought into the community, giving out scholarships to
Mm-hmm.
kids in high school. So I just don't buy it, man. Like I hear you, but I think they're gonna make it work for Mitchell and they're gonna trade Rudy. You get what I'm saying? Daniel House, all the problem, any problem that's giving him problems, they're gonna get rid of.
I think that they should also look to get rid of Mike Conley, man. I was a huge Mike
Yeah,
Conley fan, but lately, like he just hasn't been the same player. He made the All Star team finally, I think, as an alternate a couple years back. And you know this is probably really bad performance. 36% from the field, 25% from three. You brought this guy to be like a very great point guard, but I just haven't seen him step up in that sense. Like he is really digressed, you know, averaging the most turnovers on the
almost,
team with 2.7. I think he's like 30 something. 3 points. Like to me, like when I look at the
Mhm.
numbers, it's shocking. And so, you know, we'll see what
Yeah,
happens with the. We'll see,
yeah,
man.
I hear you. And like they're paying him $26.5 million, I think, isn't he? He's still getting that money from his
Yeah,
last
he's
contract.
getting a big bag, so
Dude,
they're gonna have
it's
to
like
ship him.
oh yeah, they're gonna but he's playing good though. I mean he had oh wait a minute. The second game he had 0 points.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't stepped up in the playoffs. Like this is like the
I mean
next.
last game he had 21, but you can't have 0 points. That's crazy. But
Yeah,
yeah, like I said, I think they're gonna load a lot of these guys like they're gonna try to get I think they're gonna try to get a superstar. I wouldn't be shocked if they try to make a run at AD
AD
and trade
in Utah.
Rudy. Yeah, with Donovan Mitchell. I wouldn't be shocked. They need another guy, another big. They
Mm-hmm.
don't need another scorer because they got the shooters. You know they have
Yeah.
Bogdanovich and then they have a couple other guys, but they need a guy who can come outside and guard the three. Because if
Mm-hmm.
they're play Dallas again next year, they're toast if they have Rudy back
Yeah.
because they figured that team out. Okay, we all we need is a stretch five.
Yeah, for sure. And so let us know in the
So
comment section down below, people. What do you make of this Utah Jazz team? Is it time to blow it up? Is it time for a divorce? And who do you think is going to be on the move from this Utah Jazz team? Let us know in the comment section down below. All right, Tyrese. I think we'll get into one final topic, and I think we're going to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves and
yes,
the Memphis Grizzlies. I think yesterday's
yep,
game was an indication that this Minnesota Timberwolves team is not ready yet. I would say I think that they are still a team that could potentially get there, but giving up two huge leads in these last games has been a little bit
yeah,
disappointing to say the least. But the one thing that we have to mention, and I know Sean wants to mention it because of the last game, Brandon Clark absolutely went off in this series so far. You know, averaging some really good percentages. Um, you know, I think that he obviously is a big difference maker. I mean, that's the thing with this Memphis Grizzlies team, Tyrese. I think there's a lot of huge, I would say, playmakers on this team. Like you can clearly see that this is a deep rotation the way that they go, all the way from like
mm-hmm.
Melton all the way up to John Morant. You got Desmond Bain, you got Brandon Clark, you got Dylan Brooks, you got Jaren Jackson Jr., Tyus Jones. I think underrated point guard in my opinion. Tillman, Zaire Williams, a rookie. You know, stepping up to this young Memphis Grizzlies. I really like this team. I think I picked them as my Western Conference Finals kind of contenders, along with the Golden State Warriors. And I like
Yeah.
everything. I'm like everything that I see with this team. Obviously, they had a blip, I would say, in game number two,
Hmm.
losing to the Timberwolves, or I guess no, it was game number one. Excuse me, that they
Yeah, they
lost.
lost game one. Yeah, in
And so
Memphis.
they've kind of stepped back. They kind of gone back to their ways, and I'm super excited to see how this team progresses moving forward. But on the other side of it, I think Karl Anthony Towns, as much as I am a defender of him, I do have to call him out for the last
Yes,
game.
you
Like,
are. Yeah.
I think he played really horrible in the last game. I think, way too many fouls that he's getting, way too many turnovers. I think he's trying to just run through people and not really play the
He's trying to
game.
be a bully. That's what he's trying to do.
And what's
But
funny
it
about
doesn't.
him is that I think that there's times where he might play like the best center in the NBA, and there's other times where he just plays like garbage. And
Inconsistent.
that's the frustrating thing about Karl Anthony Towns.
Inconsistent. Remember, I was telling you that? I was like, he's inconsistent, man. Like, he might go for 61 games, then he'll go for 10 points. You can't have that.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like, I don't know. Maybe it's the thing with John Moran and his dad, like on the sideline, that's kind of feeding into his head. And
Mm,
he's trying to do it all. You get what I'm saying? He's trying to do it
yeah.
all, but he's getting calls, man. Like he's
Yeah.
fouling people. So, you know, this is his first time, really. I think in the playoffs, right?
Second time
Second time.
they made
So
it as an 8 seed a couple years back.
yeah, and this is the best record they had.
Hmm.
So he's stoked, but I think he's a little bit too stoked. He's getting a little bit out of control to
Yeah.
where, he's costing the team. They have a lot of good solid players. It's just they don't have experience. And Patrick Beverly, he has some experience, but he's not like a
Hmm.
Draymond Green or Tony Allen or something like that, but they're a good solid team. But as for Memphis, I would like to see them be more consistent. I think they're a little bit too unexperienced too. And that's why I was telling you, like, yeah, they're a good team, but I think once they go against a very veteran team, they're gonna lose it. Um, and I kind of seen that game one. Patrick Beverly was doing a lot, and
Hmm.
the team, they were just outplaying them, man,
Hmm.
and they just put their heads down. I think when they play a team like Golden State or Phoenix, they're gonna crumble. I could be wrong, but they're just not seasoned enough for me. I just don't think they're seasoned enough. But they have a lot of years to be great. But I just don't think this is the year where they get to the finals like a lot of people think.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely think that's going to be a hard route just because you also have the Phoenix Suns, you have the Warriors. Like it's going to be a tough battle for these three teams. I would
And
say
you're
the Sun.
saying you got to beat them in seven. I don't buy it. They're just too young, man. They're a great team, good coach, but there's levels to this.
Yeah.
And those two teams been to the finals. One team won chips, so it's a different. They're seasoned. They're not seasoned yet. They're barely getting developed, but they're not ready for the bright lights yet. I don't think.
Yeah.
But they're a
And
great team though for
yeah.
years to come.
Yeah, they're a great team. I think there's a lot of momentum carrying them forward for this next series, and we'll find out what's going to be going on for the Memphis Grizzlies. Like I said, they have a very exciting roster. I like everything about them. They finally
Fun
have
to
a
watch.
they finally have a Triple J that is healthy, which is what they
Hmm.
needed this whole time. Like whether they were
Yeah.
in that playing game or whether it was a couple years back, as a rookie. It's just great to see that he's finally stayed healthy and can show you like he is a really great player and how versatile he can be on defense. And really, I think Tyus Jones, very underrated point guard in this league.
Yeah.
You can
Tyus
clearly
has been
see that
killing it.
he has some great moments, and that's exciting to watch him and kind of the way that he's been going. And of course, like I said, you have Desmond Bain, who's definitely popped off this year, and Brandon Clark, who again is San Jose native, like you said, playing very well. And you
Yeah.
can clearly
He's
see that
playing
this
well.
you can see that this team, the way that they've been playing, they average more assists, their field goal percentage is higher, and so that's exciting
They're
to
a
see.
deep team. They're a very deep team, man. They give me Spurs vibes. It's just they're too
Hmm.
young. Like they can all play, man. They all have talent. It's just the coach is good. He's a good coach. They're bought in, but it's just sometimes I can tell that unexperienced, like being there in the bright stages and hard times, they haven't experienced it yet. But
Hmm.
I think in a few years they're gonna be a powerhouse, man. Like really, I really do. It's gonna
Yeah.
be tough. You're gonna have to go through Memphis, I think, to get to the West or to get to the finals.
Yeah.
They're gonna be tough.
And then let's quickly talk about this, and then maybe we'll head out of here just because um,
Okay, sounds good.
gotta take care of some things. But really quick, the Devin Booker injury that happened that happened a couple days ago or yesterday. Huge kind of breaking news in that sense that he's out for at least, I believe he has a grade 1 tear, um,
Yeah.
or strain, I should say. So he's going to be out for 2 to 3 weeks, according to multiple reports. So he's, this could be a huge thing for the Phoenix
Could be
Suns. Like,
longer because hamstrings are sensitive.
mm-hmm. So, with Booker's injury and kind of his status for game number 3 and everything like that, do you think that they'll kind of struggle against the Pelicans, or do you think they'll be okay?
Well, they're losing right now. I think they're gonna lose this series. I'm gonna be real with you, Bernie.
You,
I think
do
they're
you
gonna
think
lose this
you think the
series, man,
Suns
in
are
five.
losing?
Yeah, I think they're gonna. I don't see. I think they're gonna lose in six. I really do. I just without him, it's like that's 30 points you're losing right there. That's 30. Who could? Chris Paul's old. He's 37 years old.
Hey man, here's the thing I'll say about this. This is a DeAndre, and you got it. Like if you want that deal so badly, go ahead and
Yeah,
earn it. You
but
got it.
Brandon Ingram's looking like a mini KD out there. He's the best player on the floor. Him and CJ can go for 50 any given night, and then Brandon Ingram can get you 40. We seen it. He damn near got 40. So, and then the other guys like what's his name, the Hispanic dude, he could play really solid off defense. And then they have Jackson Hayes who can jump out the gym. Then they got Valentunas who can, who's a vet who's been there. I don't think they can beat them, bro. I'm being honest. I think their Suns are going to lose in six, and it's going to be because of the Booker injury. And it's going to be a lot of talk of what's next. I just think it's unfortunate, but that injury bug gets the best of him. I look at the Bucks. They're winning right now, but the Bulls, they don't have as much talent. Brandon Ingram is way more talented than Zach LaVine. So it's gonna be a tough, but I just think they're gonna win in six. I think that Booker injury is gonna bite them. Um, you know,
I don't know. I
I could
think
be wrong, but I just
they'll
don't see. I just don't
they'll
see it, man. I
win.
just don't.
They'll win this series, man. I think the Pelicans are too young. Obviously, adding CJ adds some age and veteran leadership, but I just never can doubt a Chris Paul team, other than maybe in the finals, or in the conference
Yeah,
finals. But I think
that's
this
true.
this team will carry them enough to where they can get to the next round. And I think this is actually a benefit to the Suns, especially with this Booker injury, to extend this series so that when they do win, Booker's ready to go for game number 1 for the next round. And that's something that, or yeah, I'm trying to think what would be the best approach, right? Because the problem is that if you extend the series too long, you risk tiring guys like Chris Paul, Aiton, and the other older guys on the Phoenix Suns team. But I think if you go too quick and then the other series goes too quick, you already have to play, and then Booker's not able to play. I think that's
See,
kind of.
see, yeah, I hear you. I hear you, but it's just I don't think it's gonna. I don't think they're getting past them, man. Like I really don't. I really don't, man. Like I understand. I hear you, like unexperienced, but they just playing with confidence. When you got guys who are playing with confidence and playing together, now it's to a point for the Suns is who's next? Like who's the second guy right now? You get what I'm saying? Then you're gonna have Mikal Bridges trying to act like he's the second guy. Who's the second guy right now for the Suns? It's not DeAndre Ayton because he's a big. He's not gonna get you 30. So who's next? And I think that's the question mark, and I think it's gonna hurt them because you're gonna have a lot of guys trying to jack up shots, trying to act like, oh, okay, I'm the second guy. I need this opportunity because for
Mm,
a lot of guys, this is a display, right? This is a display to show I'm worthy, and it's either going to be a positive or a negative to where it's going to go right or bad. And I just think I just think this is the worst thing that could have happened for the Suns, man. I really do. I hope I'm wrong, but they're playing with
yeah.
a shit ton of confidence right now. I'm not even gonna lie. Like they're bought
No.
in, man. Like I understand like experience and all that, but they're looking good. They're
Yeah.
looking good.
Yeah, and we'll find out later tonight. what's going to happen to this team, what's going to happen to the Phoenix Suns and Pelicans moving forward. So let us know in the comment section down below. Who do you think is going to win this series without Devin Booker? Is it still going to be the Suns or is it going to be the Pelicans? Let us know in the comment section down below. All right, Tyrese, I think that's going to do it here for us on the charge here. Thank you once again for joining us. I appreciate you joining, and this is a lot of fun. Obviously, talking about our Celtics, sky high, sky's the limit right now. We're living on cloud nine, and hopefully we can take care of business. Take care of business the rest of the way. So, do you have any?
That's all we gotta do.
Any lasting words before we head out of here?
No, man, it was a good talking about everything that's going on, and hopefully we can come back here and talk some more.
Yeah, for sure. And let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys make of all these playoff series? Let us know what you think about our Boston Celtics. Me and Tyrese, that is. Do you think that they have enough chutzpah to get them all the way to the NBA Finals? Or do you think that they'll stop short in some of the other rounds, second or third? Let us know in the comment section down below. What do you guys think? But with that being said, please remember to hit that like, share, and subscribe button if you're new to the channel. Remember, the more you engage in this channel, the more the algorithms will say, hey, you should tune into the charge. You should tune in to see what we're doing. And so that'll be a lot of fun to talk about with everybody here on the charge. Again, I appreciate everybody kind of tuning in, speaking their mind on this channel. I appreciate everybody that's been, leaving comments, been doing the little things here. So with that being said, thank you once again for joining us here on the charge, and we'll catch everybody